Coach Ryan from Functional Flex. We're here. I'm on the cell phone. It's going to be a fun one, you guys. Let's see how this rolls. Today I want to talk about something pretty specific. Get it done quick. Get you on the road. What I want to tell you guys about is this thing keeps coming up. I keep seeing it all the time, especially for female competitors, okay? And female people in general, actually female people, that's a weird way to say it. But in general, I see this all the time with the ladies, is these crash diets, these low calories, like that not even a hamster would do because it's too low. Like a hamster would eat more calories than some of these women out here. And this is happening in competitors, okay? Competitors getting coached calories that are so low that it's crazy. And also people that are overweight, they want to lose weight, they think the way to do it, just crash diet and whatever. Well, you guys, I am sick and tired of seeing these sub 1,000 calorie diets. And this is very common. I see this from competitors all the time. They'll come to me and they'll be all beat up. They'll all be just basically broken. Health is out the window. And they're like, Ryan, here's what I've been doing. And I'll run up their macros, I'll check their calories, I'll look at their meal plan, and they're at like 600, 800 calories. And I'll ask them, what the hell's going on with that? Why are you eating like a hamster or a rabbit? And basically they'll say, oh yeah, that's what my coach had me do. Your coach puts you at sub 1,000 calories. Your coach puts you at sub 1,000 calories. What you need to do is slap that person in the face, kick them in the nuts. If they don't have nuts, kick them wherever they would, because that's just ridiculous. I can't even believe that this happens, you guys. I can't believe that's a thing. It's totally unhealthy, and a number of problems are going to come from that, okay? We're talking about hormone damage. Hormone profile damage is going to be completely an issue if you're at sub 1,000 calories, okay, for any length of time. It's just the way it works, you guys. Your body's going to start shutting down, everything's going to go to shit, and your hormones are going to get jacked up. The new research is showing already it takes about 6 months to 18 months to recover your hormone profile if you're a woman after a traditional contest prep approach. Like, that is not good stuff, you guys. You do not want to jack your body up like that, and it happens all the time to competitors. Another thing that's a major issue is metabolic damage. And what we're talking about with that is the fact that your metabolism is going to go so slow because you're literally in survival starvation mode down there. There is no health there at all whatsoever. Your body's like, we got to stay alive. We're going to drop this metabolic rate so low. And then guess what? Whenever you try to come out of a contest prep or anything like that, you guys have all seen the competitors that gain 30, 40 pounds right after. And you're like, what? You used to compete? What the hell? How? You look like this now, but you used to look like that just a few weeks ago. What happened? Terrible metabolic damage, okay? Everything that they eat is going to stick to them. The metabolism's still slow, and they don't know what to do, and then all of a sudden they don't like their bodies, and all types of things are going to come from this that are bad, you guys. The mind effects are another thing that's a huge issue. Post-comp depression, you hear about it all the time. All these different things that come into play from doing these kind of chronic calorie drop diets. And you guys keep in mind that this, some of you might say, oh, it's not that bad. What if the girl is a small woman, she's short, whatever. Sub 1,000 calories, never acceptable, okay? Most of the time, if it's a competitor especially, we're talking about doing weight training almost every day, probably 4, 5, 6 days a week on most kind of coaches' programs, and then a lot of coaches in a contest prep phase. As you're down to that kind of calories, you're going to be doing 1 hour to 2 hours of cardio every single day, in addition to your weight training. This is the stuff that I see. This is the stuff that I know is true. I'm not just putting this out here like, making this shit up. This is real deal stuff, you guys. It happens all the time. You hear it all the time. So imagine now you're eating 600 calories a day. You're a female, and you're doing 2 hours of cardio, which is going to burn up to thousands of calories right there, depending on how intense you're going. And then you're doing weight training on top of it. What do you think is going to happen to your body? What level of health do you think is going to happen? I've heard about competitors' hairs falling out, like their hair on their head just starts falling out because their body is literally evacuating their hair so that they can stay alive, and things like this. This happens all the time, you guys, and it's never acceptable. On another note, weight loss patients, weight loss clients, people that want to lose weight, not acceptable for them either, you guys. You cannot drop the calories low, even though you have extra body fat and all this stuff. You can't just go from eating several thousand calories a day. Probably if you're overweight considerably, you're eating 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day and you don't even know about it. You cannot just drop to 1,000 or lower and assume that you're going to get any good long-term benefit. Now, I will say this, you guys. Yes, if you do that, if you take your calories sub 1,000, guess what? You will get results. big fucking surprise. If you're eating 5,000 calories a day, you cut down, you're going to get results. Yes, you will. I'm saying it, but you're not ever going to sustain it. You're going to sacrifice your health, and for every amount of time that you can somehow convince your body and your mind to stay sub 1,000 calories, you will pay for months and months and years after the fact. And you're going to have to do a whole bunch of catch up, a whole bunch of homework, and basically you're never even going to get that result in the long term. You're oftentimes going to rebound, come back, be worse off than when you started, especially with weight loss patients. We see this all the time. You're going to go down, and then you're going to come up, and you're probably going to gain back. And you guys, you see these competitors that hit the stage, and they do it for a few years, few seasons, and then they just can't sustain that anymore. They can't sustain that lifestyle. They can't even sustain the prep in the period it takes because it literally destroys your body. So my invitation to you, if you're watching this video now and you are in the competition industry, or you're in the weight loss industry, or you know people that are competing, or you know people that are trying to lose weight, you make sure they do it the right way. And how do you do it the right way? You eat and you train and you be smart. You don't do chronic cardio. You don't chronic diet. You do everything sustainably and healthily so that you can live life long term and have the results you want to have in the long term. That is what matters, and that's what we care about. We don't care about 10-minute results. We don't care about getting lean for a month or two. We don't care about losing 40 pounds if it means we gain 50 back. What we care about is the life, you guys. Competitors especially, you compete to stand on stage for 10 seconds at a time. If you sacrifice your entire health and well-being for the rest of your life for 10 seconds on stage, you have something to think about. You want to compete in the long term? You want to have a long, happy, healthy life? You want to travel the world, have kids, have a family, have a career? You got to make sure you take control of your shit and you don't do stuff that's going to jeopardize your health, you guys. This stuff is serious, and I can't explain it any other way. You have to take this seriously. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing. You know, anybody doing these hamster rabbit calories, you get them the hell out of that shit. And if you guys need help getting yourself out of that, please feel free to reach out to me. I have a ton of resources. I'm more than happy to answer any questions, help you get whatever you need to get out of this, because it can't happen. It is not sustainable, and it's not healthy, and it's not what the end game is. Coach Rye is out.